So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is modulation and the importance of modulation when you are speaking in public. I was thinking about this topic myself because when I think about my own talking and the reasons why I may or may not be attracted to talking in public, it's sometimes it just gives you your heart goes on cardio mode and I think you're totally ready to go. But then I actually like talking and I really love doing it in public and in front of other people if I have a really interesting message to give. And I know sometimes it's talking in public just gives you just gives weird vibes actually. But then I remember that it's all part of the game and well, I kind of like it. So today I will talk to you about a topic that is super important for everyone who's out there trying to make videos, or if you want to talk in public, or if for some reason, working reasons, you actually need to speak in public, there's a couple of things that you need to know. Everything that we do when it comes to speaking in public has to do with the tone of your voice and what we call modulation. Modulation is the most important thing because without modulation, your message is just simply unheard by most people, okay? No one really wants to listen to a person that doesn't sound convincing. So, for example, obviously there's a lot of different types of modulation. Modulation that comes with public speaking, for example. So you got the corporate tone, you have the motivational speaker tone, you have the informational tone, there's even the political tone, and there's the personal tone. What you have just seen in this video was me using, in this case, for example, the personal tone. This is what we call actually in the jargon of languages, this is what we call the LA girl talk. Okay, and this is a way of talking in which you're super normal, chilling with your friends, and the tone of your voice just goes up in the end, just like this. So every time I'm talking, and if I'm holding my phone and I'm taking a look at it, and I may be saying things like this, so that's the LA girl tone. And that tone of voice is actually very relaxed, and it's really something you do when you're in confidence with other people. But this is definitely a tone you can find in certain people, like the Kardashians, for example, use it a lot. I use it a lot too. I gotta tell you the truth. So if you're talking relaxed and chilling just like that, probably that's the tone you're gonna use. But what happens if I'm in front of other people and I need to use a convincing, more moderate, more professional kind of tone? Obviously, if you're in a setting that is not a personal setting, your tone actually has to change in order to make you sound either more professional or, well, depending on the situation, you will make it sound what you wanted it to be. So, to give you one example, if I were talking in a company and I wanted to discuss or address a topic with a little more professionalism, I definitely have to change the tone of my voice. It is impossible that I speak in public to people who want to find what I say credible and speak the way I spoke before. So what would I do? Let's see one example. If this was a company and I had to speak in public and provide data for the employees, valuable data, I will probably sound something like this. Employee turnover has risen over the last couple of years, and there's a lot of factors involved in the reasons why this is happening. employee turnover has a lot to do with burnout, excessive amount of hours of work, company culture, and then insatisfaction at different personal levels. We have discovered and reached the conclusion that the employee turnover that we've seen in the company over the last 2 years has had a lot to do with the fact that our employees have been working tons of hours, not just regular 9 to 5 office hours, but rather doing a lot of overtime, which has led to insatisfaction and exhaustion on the side of our employees. So it is important for us to address this topic better so that we can keep our employees satisfied and reach a much better company culture across our teams. As you can see there, I sound professional. I sound like I know what I'm talking about, and I sound peaceful but informational. So that tone was a tone meant to address people with clear information, that my tone doesn't actually sound like I'm changing up and down along the speech. And what does that do? It makes it credible. Okay, it makes me sound like I'm just focusing on information. I'm not focusing on feelings. And so it's really all about the information, and you don't focus on how I'm feeling. So, big difference between what I just did before and what I'm doing now, right? Now, if I were, for example, I'm not really good at that, but I'm just going to give it a try. If I were, for example, working on the news channel, for example, my tone would be absolutely different because I have to sound credible as well. I have to sound professional too, but I have to dramatize a little bit of what I'm saying because people have to find it something relatable too. And so my emotions are probably going to be a little more involved. So I may sound something like this. Political decisions made by Donald Trump over the last few days have caused a rampage of opinions across nations, having Latin America being one of the continents that have also stepped up to provide opinion and chime in on what is going on worldwide. We'll hear more news on this matter on the following weeks. There, you can see a tone where I've been informational, but I've also made an impact on addressing feelings in this speech as well. Why? Because I try to make it energetic, and that made it completely different from the first speech where I was just chilling and acting out like nothing's going on. On the second one, in which I was just providing information at a very professional level and trying to empathize with the topic. And on the third one, where I'm being more energetic in order to have people engaged to the information I'm providing. So yes, the tone is super important. When my students talk about the importance of pronunciation, when they're talking, I also have to tell them, and I can't get tired enough of saying, guys, not everything is about just the pronunciation that you have, but also it's about the way in which you deliver information. So if you are using a tone that it just makes things sound a little irrelevant, then people are just not going to follow you. It's better that you focus, much better that you focus on the way in which you say something than the words you're using or just the pronunciation alone. Once that you get that, it just makes you sound miles better in any language, really.